Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Kalpita Amara Shastra Ami Sabajani. Jati Anurode Tabuse Shastramani. Kalpita Amara Shastra Ami Sabajani. Jati Anurode Tabuse Shastramani. Kalpita Amara Shastra Ami Sabajani. Shastramani. Does anybody else like to chant, ladies? Kalpita Amara Shastra Ami Sabajani. Jati Anuradha Tabushe Shastramani. Kalpita, imagined, Amara, our, Shastra, scripture, Ami, I, Sabha, everything. Jani, no. Jati, by community. Anurodhe, being obliged. Tabu, still. She, that. Shastra, scripture. Mani, I accept. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Just thinking how Srila Prabhupada has given us entrance into this, even the Bengali language, the meaning of all of these verses. He's the bridge between this culture, this culture of Bengali, Sanskrit, this Vedic culture, all of the different, fine points of Vedic culture, of even of Indian culture that was seen at least up to 100 years ago or so. And he's brought that into the modern world. He's brought that into English, into these Western countries like Australia and so forth, that we would have had no entrance into this, this world to understand what this Kavi, this the Kazi, is saying, and what is this discussion between Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Prabhupada has opened the door, invited us in, and guiding us on this much developed culture of human culture, of Vedic culture, given by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. Translation: I know that our scriptures are full of imagination and mistaken ideas. Yet because I am a Mohammedan, I accept them for the sake of my community, despite their insufficient support. Please repeat. I know that our scriptures are full of imagination and mistaken ideas. Yet because I am a Mohammedan, I accept them for the sake of my community, despite their insufficient support. So who's saying this? Who's speaking here? Who's Qazi? Who's that? And what scriptures is he talking about? Yeah, correct. Muhammadan scriptures, right? He's talking about his Muhammadan scriptures. So text 171. The reasoning and arguments in the scriptures of the meat-eaters are not very sound, the Qazi concluded. Upon hearing this statement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and inquired from him as follows. So this is very amazing, and indicates even here that in India, from time immemorial, there's been a very strong history of debate and discussion about theological matters. One point that Hridayananda Maharaj brought up recently was that if you took any science, say take the science of biology or medicine, and you said that everybody is allowed to just have their own opinion, and we want to respect everyone, so we don't want to have scientific papers that are peer-reviewed. We don't want to have strong discussion about these different points. Just let everybody believe what they want to believe, and we'll just sort of tolerate everybody's different viewpoints. So you can imagine what would happen to the science of medicine if that happened. We know that, of course, modern medicine isn't perfect, and we can point to so many examples of that. But ultimately, the science as itself is always open to criticism. It's always open to discussion and so forth, whether it's biology or any kind of science. That's one of the points. So what Hridayananda Maharaj is making the point is that if you take theological science, if you take a spiritual science and you say, all right, there's so many people fighting about different viewpoints, different perspectives on theology, so let's just not have any discussion between them. Let's just have religious tolerance, and let's just say, all right, that's your religion, you believe that, and we believe that, and that's it. Not allowed, there's no public discussion criticizing your points or anything like that. And this is sort of the world we live in here, where now that it's you're not allowed to interreligious dialogue is more or less I'm making a generalization, but in a lot of ways it's more or less, we accept your religion and you accept our religion and we won't try to kill you, kind of thing. Which is definitely better than we will try to kill you, no doubt. But we can see here the history of India, or the Vedic culture, was that people were very much, they were, at least intelligent people, were very, the higher class. You can see he's the leader of the society, he's the Kazi. They were willing to, and often would, debate. And if debate threadbare, we can see that Caitanya Mahaprabhu sat for 5 days, was it, with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and just heard and heard and heard and heard. And then finally he gave his purport, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya accepted the bhakti, understanding. But it wasn't that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya just said, well, that's just my understanding, that's just yours, oh, we'll just live. No, there was dialogue. And so he, even though the Qazi is a follower of Islam, follower of the Prophet Muhammad, he himself is very, clearly putting out here that the reasoning and arguments in the scriptures of the mediators are not very sound, right? I'll just say here, sahaje means naturally, saha means with, and ja means born. So sahaja means born with, or naturally. Like something that's just born, somebody's born with something, it's just natural for them. It's natural for certain animals to do certain things. Sahaja, they're born with it. So naturally, sahaje yavana shastre, in the scriptures of the meat eaters, adrida, unsound, vichar, judgment. So we know that Srimad Bhagavatam says that only 2 kinds of people cannot understand this philosophy. What are those 2 kinds of people? Who knows? Anybody? Only 2 kinds of people that can't understand this philosophy of Krishna consciousness. In the Bhagavatam it's given. Meat eaters is one. Yeah. And what's the other one? Huh? Yeah, more or less it says killers of atmaha, killers of their own soul. In other words, like impersonalists. Like people who don't want a spiritual identity. So yeah, like atheists, or especially anybody who's killing their own soul, which includes atheists, yep. So these, the meat eaters, when you're just unrestrictedly or in any way killing animals unneededly, it's always unneeded. You don't need to, we've been all living so nicely on vegetarian diet. We don't need to kill animals. So when you're unneededly killing animals, the level of your compassion has to drop, right? You have to be less compassionate. How can you be compassionate and kill someone at the same time? We're trying to develop this thing. What is it? Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni chaiva swapake cha pandita samadashina. The pandit, learned person, Krishna is explaining, is someone who's samadasi, they see equally. What that means is that they see the soul in everyone. And they also see the soul in the animals, right? The animals, that was us, 5,000 years ago, or 10,000 years ago, or 300 years ago, who knows? When were we in the body of an animal? It's described we've been here since anadir, unlimited, which means we haven't always been in human forms. So the animals are also, they're living out their karmas, getting their reactions until the reactions are sufficiently worn out till they can again attain the human form. So it's very destructive, dangerous for you, but it's very destructive for the animal, for the soul in that animal, to kill them. So how can you try to see equally? How can you get this samadashina when you're just very obviously... Now we struggle with this as it is, right? We struggle with it as it is so much, right? We're born into a certain family, we're born into a certain a country, even a certain part of the country. I'm from New South Wales, or I'm from Queensland, or I'm from South India, I'm from North India, or whatever it is. We struggle with as it is to see equally, even as devotees, even chanting Hare Krishna. It's very deep-seated upadhis, coverings that we have on our soul. But if we're grossly committing violence against other living entities, there's no question. So, therefore, the type of reasoning and arguments given by the scriptures of the meat-eaters are not very sound for this reason. Because it can't be Bhagavat philosophy. It can be some God consciousness. Prabhupada said that the Pope is making spiritual advancement because he is doing the work of God. He's doing God's work. So there is God consciousness there in Christianity, in Islam, in all the religions that actually have a prophet who's worshipping God. They're worshipping that prophet, Jesus, Muhammad. God consciousness is definitely there, no doubt. Otherwise, how the potency is there to give shelter? Has to be. But as far as the reasoning and arguments, that is not very sound, according to the Chankazi, right? Not very sound. Why is that? Because the reasoning and argument has to be moved this way and that way to allow us to kill animals, right? Yes, we have to, in the Christian, and I'm not an expert in Christianity, but this at least some Christians I know believe that, and this is, I think, maybe Thomas Aquinas, or one of the very early founders, not founders, but one of the philosophers of Christianity. And whether it's him or not, I'm not sure. But at least one of them, and many people followed this in Christianity, the philosophy that there is two different kinds of a soul. There's the soul of the human being, and then there's the soul of the animal, and they're different. You don't know this? Yeah, that's their philosophy. Yeah. Or some like, the animals have no soul. Yeah, see, people who've grown up in Vedic culture, it's like, what? He got no soul. How's he running around? If he's got no soul, if he's got no consciousness, how is he understanding when I call or when I come home and he's, oh wow, you're home. Wow, yeah, have you got something to eat? Come on, man. So, in this way, the Kazi is stating here, and I'm just giving one simple example, that the reasoning and argument of a scripture, although there may be there is definitely God consciousness there, no doubt, but it's mixed with so many other things, mainly that we want to kill animals and worship God at the same time, that therefore the philosophy, the reasoning arguments have become not very sound. Not very sound in this thing. So upon hearing this statement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and inquired from him as follows. Are eka prashna kari shuna tumi mama yatarta kahibe chale na vanchibe amma. My dear maternal uncle, I wish to ask you another question. Please tell me the truth. Do not try to cheat me with tricks. So Kazi was, it wasn't exactly a family relationship. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong here, but something like his mother's father was friends with, or was like associates with his family. What do you know? Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, I know. So many times, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like in the West even they say, "Hey bro, how you going?" "Hey brother." They say brother. So it's yeah. He's the uncle. Wow, so sweet, huh? Yeah. So yes. It welcome them into the family, right? You're part of the family, so they give them a name. Yeah. Exactly. There was there was a particularly close relationship between the Kazi's family and the family of Sachimata, who was Nilamba Chakravarti. But yeah, there was a particular. So in that case, in that sense, so it wasn't a familiar, like we would say. He wasn't related by blood, but he was, in that sense. It's very common in India too. You'll talk to someone and say, oh, who's this? It's oh, he's my brother. And then, after some conversation, it comes out, oh, he's from the same village. So he's my brother. But in the West, it's more like, he's my brother or he's not my brother. It's more, anyway, it's a different thing. But it's very nice culture. So he's calling him my dear maternal uncle, right? Mama. Big now, isn't it? Is it in North India or South India, Bobby? They say mama. Oh, both. Mother's side uncle, yeah, both North and South. Huh? Everywhere. So mama. Yeah, so here's Bengali, you can see. So the same word is used now. Mama will be the maternal uncle. So he's affectionately talking to him as a family member. Right, text 173. In your city, there is always congregational chanting of the holy name. So he says, Tomara Nagare. So even more, he's kind of praising him, right? He's praising him. This is your city. You're the great leader. This is your city. A tumultuous uproar of music, singing and dancing is always going on. As a Mohammedan magistrate, you have the right to oppose the performance of Hindu ceremonies, but now you do not forbid them. I cannot understand the reason why. Text 175, the Qazi said, does anyone know how many texts I'm meant to read here? Oh, 187, okay. Oh, I've still got 10 to go. Excuse me. Okay, text 175. The Qazi said, everyone calls you Gora Hari. Please let me address you by that name. Kindly listen, O Gora Hari. There's significance there that he's addressing him by the spiritual name that his followers give him, rather than Nimai Pandit. He's called him Gora Hari. Kindly listen, O Gora Hari. If you come to a private place, I shall then explain the reason. So he's obviously, the Qazi doesn't really want the whole community, and especially the Muslim community, to hear what he's about to tell. The Lord replied, all these men are my confidential associates. You may speak frankly. There is no reason to be afraid of them. And also, there was like 100,000 people at his doorstep, so he was like, maybe we'll go to some other place in private. He was obviously feeling a little lot intimidated with so many people come. So the Qazi said, when I went to the Hindu's house, broke the drum, and forbade the performance of congregational chanting, in my dreams that very night I saw a greatly fearful lion roaring very loudly, his body like a human being's and his face like a lion's. While I was asleep, the lion jumped on my chest, laughing fiercely and gnashing his teeth. Placing its nails on my chest, the lion said in a grave voice, I shall immediately bifurcate your chest as you broke the mridanga drum. You have forbidden the performance of my congregational chanting, therefore I must destroy you. Being very much afraid of him, I closed my eyes and trembled. Seeing me so afraid, the lion said, I have defeated you just to teach you a lesson, but I must be merciful to you. On that day you did not create a very great disturbance, therefore I have excused you and not taken your life. But if you perform such activities again, I shall not be tolerant. At that time I shall kill you, your entire family, and all the meat-eaters. After saying this, the lion left, but I was very much afraid of him. Just see the marks of his nails on my heart. Wow. After this description, the Qazi showed his chest. Having heard him and seen the marks, all the people there accepted the wonderful incident. So, who was it? Was it in a dream? And that very night I saw a roar in my dreams, yes. So who came and paid a visit to the Qazi in his dreams? Sringadeva Bhagavan Ki Jai. Okay, so, and he actually had some marks on his chest. So this is what he wanted to tell Lord Caitanya in a solitary place. The Qazi continued, I did not speak to anyone about this incident, but on that very day, one of my orderlies came to see me. After coming to me, the orderly said, when I went to stop the congregational chanting, suddenly flames struck my face. I was supposed to go to 187? Well, that's just random. There's no purport to 187 either. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I have to stop. Sorry, that was one area. So after this description, the Qazi showed his chest. Having heard him and seen the marks, all the people there accepted the wonderful incident. Alright, so that's it. I have to stop there, even though there's no purport here. Is that what it says? Okay. Alright, so that's a good, we can talk about something else, which is a very special occasion happening today. So just to finish this, so there's something I have to remember this, and when I think about this incident, I didn't, although I've read this many times, but I don't sort of remember this, that it wasn't just the 100,000 people that stopped the Qazi. It was, he had Lord Nrsingadev came in his dream and said, basically said, I'm going to rip you apart if you do that again. So he immediately had faith, right, in the Hindu deities. He had direct perception. So, yes. So today is the appearance day of Lord Vamanadev. So Vamanadev, as we know, is one of the Dasha avatar, 10 main avatars of Krishna, Vishnu. So Vamanadev, we know the story of Lord Vamanadev, that Bali Maharaj was, he was in the heavenly planets, and he had his guru Sukracharya, and he was approached by a very beautiful small Brahmana boy, and his guru Sukracharya said to him, you better be careful of this boy. I think it's Vishnu in disguise, and he's probably going to try to take everything from you. So Bali Maharaj, he's of course the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, correct? Son of Virochan, son of Prahlad Maharaj. So he although he's in that Asuric lineage, but his grandfather is Prahlad Maharaj, so he's extremely devoted soul. So he knew that, well, the whole point of the guru is to tell you how to surrender to God, how to serve God. So here this person is saying he's my guru, and he's telling me this is God and you shouldn't surrender to him. So he rejected Shukracharya. He rejected his guru. Right? This is a very exceptional case. We see in Bhagavatam there is so many examples of people following the guru. What is it even in Bhagavad Gita? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprachanena sevaya upadikshanti te gyanam ganana tattavadashana. Right in the very beginning, Arjuna says to Krishna, Shishyastiham sharimam tvam prapanam. I now surrendered to you. Shishyastiham. I am your shishya. So please instruct me. So throughout the Vedas, this tasmad gurum prapadyeta jigyasu shreya uttamam. If you want the ultimate goal, right? We know the Shreyas and the Prayas. The Prayas is the immediate goal, having a nice, getting nice things to eat, having a nice health of the body, having nice occupation. So these are all Prayas. But Shreyas is the ultimate goal. What's going to happen in the next life? What's going to happen to our soul? This is Shreyas. But this is Shreya Uttamam, if you want the highest ultimate goal. The highest ultimate goal Jigyasu Shre Uttamam. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyenta. Right? Pad means the same Sanskrit root as the feet, right? The pada of the feet. So pad means basically to propel towards. So prapadyeta means to propel yourself, go towards the Guru. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyenta Jigyasu. If you want the Jigyasu, the knowledge, Shreya Uttamam, the ultimate, you have to approach a Guru. So again and again and again and again and again and again, the Vedas are telling us how important it is to accept a Guru. What the Guru says, you have to make your life and soul. So many verses like that, they're there. This is the rule, right? But Bali Maharaj gives the exception, right? So this is, we can see, the Vedas are not a fanatical, one-sided, religious doctrine, right? There's the rule, the general rule. You respect your authorities, you respect your gurus, you respect your parents and all this stuff. But if they don't give you proper instruction, then you have to reject that. You have to say, you can do it nicely. I mean, he didn't go onto Facebook. I don't think they had Facebook back then. But he didn't go onto Facebook and start a whole thread demeaning Shukracharya and this and that, whatever. He was respectful. But he said, this, basically by his action he showed, this is the Lord. I'm gonna surrender to Him. So this is this is the thing that the Vedic, and this is an instruction, like everything in the Vedas are like that. There's the ideal, and then there is, okay, how is it applied in our life, in down here in the world? This world is an imperfect place. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati said it's not a fit place for a gentleman or a lady. So even the perfect knowledge, when we apply it to an imperfect world, it may need some adjustment. That's why I feel like the letters of Srila Prabhupada are very instructive. The classes, of course, everything very instructive. But in the letters, we can see Prabhupada applying the philosophy in real time with real people, with his disciples, So the philosophy is, this is the ideal, we never do that, you have to do that. But either the letters, or you can read those, you can hear on YouTube this, what's it called, Following Srila Prabhupada is one, and also Remembering Srila Prabhupada is another, where his disciples talk about the personal instructions they got from Srila Prabhupada about how to apply the philosophy. So here Bali Maharaj is doing this in real time. Vamana avatars come, and Shukracharya, his guru, said, don't surrender to him, he's Vishnu. And he said, what? He's Vishnu, and you're telling me not to surrender him? You're not my guru anymore. There's a guru meant to tell me how to surrender to God. You're telling me not to surrender to him. Then you're not my guru. Interestingly, in Vedic astrology, if anyone's studied a bit of that, Shukracharya is the planet Venus, okay, and Vamanadev is the planet Jupiter. So of all the planets, I'm just bringing this up because it's relevant in this particular pastime, but all of the planets have different varnas in Vedic astrology, and Jupiter and Venus, they're the two Brahman planets, the two Brahmans. But we can see Jupiter, Vamanadev, is the spiritual Brahmana, and Shukra is the materialistic Brahmana. Shukracharya is Venus. So it's the materialistic enjoyment, materialistic creativity and so forth, whereas Jupiter is the represents spirituality. So interestingly, in this pastime, these two representatives are there. So Vamanadev, he of course we know, he was a very small Brahmin boy, and he said to Bali Maharaj, I want you to give me some donation. Bali Maharaj said, I'm the king of everything now, I'm the king of heaven, I'll give you whatever you want. He said, no, I just want 3 steps of land. He said, 3 steps of land? He said, I'll give you 3 million steps of land. No, I only want 3 steps. Okay, fine. So with 1 step, he took and he covered the whole world. With another step, he covered the whole universe. And then that was the whole of Bali Maharaj's kingdom, was the whole universe. So he said, where do I put my 3rd step? And of course, famously, we know Bali Maharaj said, you put that on my head. Okay, now your surrendered servant. So very beautiful pastime, and we can read that in Srimad Bhagavatam. Today is also the appearance day of, is it appearance or disappearance? Does anyone know? Of Jiva Goswami? Maybe Sajjan can have a look. It says on the board. But either way, it's the appearance. I don't have my phone here. Appearance day, it is. Wow, he appeared on the same day as Vamana Day. So Jiva Goswami was one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. These were the direct followers, the first generation followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who went to Vrindavan, and on the order of Sri Chaitanya they established all the temples of Vrindavan. Right? We know that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan, he discovered so many places, just like Radhakund. It was not manifest at that time, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went there, and he, through his Krishna himself, and through his vision, through his understanding, he could understand that this is little rice paddy, there was a little bit of water here, and that was Radhakund, and he took his bath in that, and he identified that. In so many places he identified in Braj. And then his followers, the 6 Goswamis, they went and established all of the main temples of Vrindavan. If you go there now, you'll see Radha Damodar, you'll see Radha Govinda, Radha Shyamasundar, Radha Gopinath, Radha Madhamohan. All of these main deities of Vrindavan were established by the followers, the 6 Goswamis, the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Jiva Goswami was the son of the brother of Sanatan and Rupa Goswamis. So they were all in the service of the government in West Bengal, in Bengal at the time. And Jiva was younger, so he was like one generation under Sanatan. So the brother of Sanatan and Rupa was called Anupam, sometimes called Vallabha. You can read about him in the Caitanya Caritamrita. He was traveling with Rupa Goswami, and then at some point he left his body on the bank of the Ganges, and his son obviously was younger. At that time, when he was very young, he told his mother he wanted to be a renunciate. He said, "What's a renunciate? What's a sadhu?" And his mother said to him kind of innocently, "Oh, a sadhu is someone who dresses in, they dress in saffron, they just have no possessions, they dress in saffron." She thought he was just asking, in theory. So the next day, Jiva Goswami, as a young boy, he comes dressed in full sadhu vesh. His mother's like, "Wow, this guy's pretty serious." So of course he was from very young age, completely a spiritual personality, dedicated to the service. He had a dream where Krishna and Balaram came to him in the dream and then transformed into Gaunitai, and they gave their blessings. And after that he went to Navadvip, and he was taken on Navadvip Parikrama by Sri Nityananda Prabhu himself. So Jiva Goswami, so this is the Navadvip Parikram that all the devotees do now, was the reenacting that parikrama of Jiva Goswami being led by Nityananda Prabhu himself. And so then he was also instructed by Nityananda Prabhu in the philosophy, and then he went to Vrindavan. He went to Varanasi for some time. He took he took instruction in all the scriptures from the relative of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Varanasi. And then he went to Vrindavan, and he established so many. He assisted his uncles in so many of the works of Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. Jiva Goswami was like was basically proofreading it, checking it, making sure everything they would listen to his, or maybe this, whatever. He was proofreading these works, and then he himself became, a great philosopher, recognized all throughout India. He wrote Tattva Sandarbha and all the 6 Sandarbhas, which really detailed outlines the philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. His deity, you can see in Sri Radha Damodar temple now, that there's the Chota deity there, and that Rupa Goswami himself carved for Jiva Goswami. You can see in that temple in Vrindavan. Also, if you read the life of Jiva Goswami, it's very striking that he was very, very active in a social sense. Sometimes we think of sadhus as being sort of just not involved, whatever. But particularly Jiva Goswami, he had a very good relationship with the Emperor Akbar, who was, in what's it called? What's the place where the Taj Mahal is? Agra. So he was in Agra, so he wasn't that far away. And so he had a close relationship. So he would go and talk with not only the emperor, but many other people and negotiate. And he was very, very involved in, establishing these temples through negotiating with the government, basically working with the government at the time, that what wasn't the Hindu government. I mean, similar to what we have here. I mean, I think in many ways the government here is more, it was less antagonistic than that government, and especially, I mean, Aurangzeb, the follower of Akbar, was obviously even more. He just came and broke the temples. But even at that time, there's certainly the Muslim government didn't have the promotion of Hindu Dharma as high on their priority. But Jiva Goswami was very much able to negotiate with the government to enable the devotees to have their temples, to have their programs. And there's many examples of that. I think the other day in the class with the Krishna Pad, we were talking about, there's one verse in Gita where it says you should just do your duty and not do another duties. And this in 3rd chapter, 337, I think. And in the purport, Prabhupada said, this is the conditional stage, but in the liberated stage, the devotee can do anything. And Jiva Goswami is a great example of that although he is the topmost scholar, the topmost devotee, but still he was very active in just dealing with government, dealing with people to make sure that the devotees in general were protected and able to perform their service nicely. So Jiva Goswami Pad Ki Jai. So is there any comments or questions on any of these points? Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you for coming to class. Haribol.